The end of the world, as it is often imagined, is not a singular event but a series of possibilities, some rooted in science, others shaped by myth, and many more born from the fears and hopes of humanity. But let me tell you a story of how it might unfold, an ending that is neither absolute nor final, but a transformation, an inevitable closing of one chapter to make way for another. The last dawn, it began not with fire, nor with ice, but with a whisper. A sound so subtle, it could be mistaken for the wind or the distant murmur of a forgotten dream. It was a shift in the fabric of existence itself, a tremor in the threads that bound the universe together. The earth had long been a world of contradictions, brilliant blue skies framed by the darkest depths of the void, lush forests thriving on a planet orbiting a star that would one day burn itself out. The world's inhabitants had built great cities, stretched far across the continents, and launched their hopes into the heavens, seeking to know the universe's secrets. But despite all their achievements, they remained bound to the fragile, shifting surface of their home. The earth had always been a world of change, a world where everything that was born would eventually fade. In the final days, however, it was not a single event that signaled the end. It was a slow, quiet unraveling. The sky, once a perfect canvas of stars, began to shift. It wasn't that the stars were vanishing, but that they seemed distant in a way they had never been before. As if the light itself was traveling farther away, retreating beyond the reach of human eyes. People gazed at the heavens, puzzled by the strange sensation that the universe was becoming more and more empty. The sun rose and set, but its warmth was fading, as if even the light of the stars were losing their vitality. Scientists called it the Great Expansion, a phenomenon that had been detected long before, though no one had truly understood its significance. The space between galaxies was expanding faster than light itself, leaving the farthest reaches of the cosmos unreachable, as if the universe was slowly stretching itself apart. But the Earth, strangely, was unaffected by the expansion, not yet. No, it was something else, something more subtle. In the cities, the people continued their lives, but an unease settled over them, like an echo from the distant future. Time, it seemed, was changing its rhythm. Clocks that once ticked with unwavering precision began to lose their synchrony. Days felt longer, or shorter, and sleep, which had once been a place of rest, began to feel like an endless journey into another dimension. The world's cycles no longer fit within the neat framework that humans had always relied upon. But then, one day, the ground began to hum. Not a sound that could be heard with the ears, but a vibration felt deep within the bones of every living creature. Animals, which had long lived in harmony with the pulse of the earth, began to act strangely. Birds flew in erratic patterns, and whales swam in circles, as if they were caught in an invisible tide. And at the heart of it all, the earth itself seemed to breathe, expanding and contracting in time with some unseen rhythm. It was as though the planet was alive in a way no one had ever realized. Humanity's greatest minds scrambled to understand, to find an explanation. It was a shift, they determined, something beyond their comprehension, beyond the scale of their measurements. The shift was not just happening to the earth. It was happening through the earth. Something deep beneath the crust was stirring, a great awakening of forces long dormant, pulling at the very essence of reality. But the cause was not some external cataclysm. No asteroid, no comet, no invading force from beyond. It was simply the end of the world as humanity had known it. Not an explosion or a grand disaster, but an expansion, a stretching of reality itself, pulling everything, even time, towards something new. The first sign of this change was subtle, too. A strange stillness that fell over the earth. People no longer argued. The air was thick with the weight of unspoken thoughts, as if everyone's minds were turning inward, reflecting on the deepest mysteries of their existence. And then the dreams began. People began to dream of other worlds, worlds where they could exist, worlds where they had never lived. In their dreams, they spoke to each other in languages they had never learned, felt things they had never felt. The world, in its final moments, was showing them that there were many versions of existence, many ways for life to unfold, many possibilities yet to be explored. The change was gradual, almost imperceptible at first. But soon, the hum in the air grew louder, more insistent. And as it did, the fabric of reality itself began to ripple. The sun dimmed, not because it was dying, but because the space around it was different. The stars flickered like candles blown out by an invisible wind. And then, one by one, people began to disappear. At first, it was small groups, families, communities, whole villages. They didn't vanish in a flash of light, but faded, slipping out of existence as if they were stepping into another plane, another time. Some had prepared for this, had been told in their dreams that it was coming. Others simply accepted it, as if they knew, deep within, that this was how it was always meant to be. It wasn't death. It wasn't destruction. It was simply transformation. The universe was reshaping itself, unfolding into something more. The earth, too, began to change, its surface becoming a place of quiet beauty, untouched by human hands. And then, one final morning, the earth itself breathed its last sigh, and the hum faded to nothing. The sun rose in the sky, but this time it was not the sun humanity had known. It was a new sun, a star reborn from the ashes of an old world. Beneath it, the earth was gone. But it was not empty. It was a place where all things had become one, a quiet, infinite space where the stories of humanity, of every living being, lived on in the threads of the universe, woven into a new form of existence. The world ended, but not in fire, not in ice, not in an explosion of destruction. It ended as the beginning of something else, something beyond time, beyond space. A world transformed. And the whispers of the stars, the hum of existence, could still be heard. For the end of the world, it seemed, was merely the first step into something greater.